In part 1, we uncovered something most people never see. The poverty cycle isn't just about money, it's about the mental system running in the background of your consciousness. We talked about the awakening, that moment when you realize you've been operating with outdated programming that keeps generating the same painful results. We explored reprogramming, the neuroscience of how your brain can literally rewire itself when you consciously direct your thoughts, emotions, and focus toward a new reality. But here's where most people get stuck. They understand the concepts, they feel inspired, and then nothing changes. Because understanding without action is just entertainment. Knowledge without implementation is just information taking up space in your mind. This is part 2, and this is where we bridge the gap between internal transformation and external results. This is where discipline meets opportunity. This is where your new mental system starts proving itself in the real world. And the next few minutes will show you exactly how to turn awareness into action and action into lasting transformation. I spent months trapped in what I call the learning loop. I was reading every book, watching every video, absorbing information about mindset and wealth and success. I felt like I was doing something productive, but my bank account told a different story. My life looked exactly the same, and that's when I had another painful awakening. I was using learning as a sophisticated form of avoidance. I was hiding in theory because action felt too risky, too exposed, too real. Understanding the mental system is essential, but it's only half the equation. The other half is taking intentional action from that new understanding, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you don't feel ready, even when the outcome is uncertain. The poverty cycle loves the learning loop. It loves keeping you in perpetual preparation, always getting ready to start, but never actually starting. Because as long as you're just learning, nothing threatens the status quo. Your mental system can keep running the old program while you intellectually understand a new one. But real transformation requires you to act differently, to make powerful decisions that your old self never would have made, to step into situations that challenge your comfort zone and force your new mental system to activate. This is where clarity becomes more than just understanding. This becomes clarity of action, the ability to see what needs to be done and do it regardless of how you feel in the moment. Let me tell you what changed for me. I realized that I didn't need a perfect plan. I didn't need to have everything figured out. I just needed to take one intentional action aligned with my new identity. Just one. Robert Kiyosaki talks about how the poor and middle class work for money while the wealthy have money work for them. But I was stuck because I kept waiting for enough money to invest, enough knowledge to feel confident, enough certainty to take the leap. What I finally understood is that wealthy thinking begins with using what you have right now, not waiting for more. So I started with 15 minutes. Every single day, I committed to 15 minutes of intentional action toward financial clarity and prosperity. Some days it was learning about compound interest. Some days it was tracking my expenses with brutal honesty. Some days it was reaching out to someone who was ahead of me financially and asking questions. Some days it was simply sitting with the discomfort of my financial reality without avoiding or numbing it. These actions weren't dramatic. They didn't feel like enough. But they were training my brain that I was serious about this transformation. They were building evidence of my new identity. Here's what most people don't understand about discipline. It's not about willpower or forcing yourself to do things you hate. Real discipline is about loving your future self enough to make decisions in the present that serve them, even when those decisions feel uncomfortable. It's about recognizing that every small action is a vote for the person you're becoming. Every time you choose the intentional action over the habitual one, you're strengthening the neural pathways of your new mental system. Every time you do what you said you would do, even in small ways, you're building self-trust, which is the foundation of self-mastery. The intentional action I'm talking about isn't about massive overnight changes. It's about consistent, strategic movement in the right direction. Think about a plane flying from New York to Los Angeles. If the pilot adjusts the trajectory by just 1 degree at the beginning of the flight, that tiny shift results in ending up in a completely different city. Your daily actions work the same way. Small, consistent adjustments in how you think about money, how you spend your time, what you prioritize. These create massive divergence in your life trajectory over months and years. I started applying this principle everywhere. When I got paid, instead of immediately spending on comfort or entertainment, I would pause and ask, what action would my future wealthy self take with this money? Sometimes the answer was investing, even a small amount. Sometimes it was paying down debt strategically. Sometimes it was investing in education or tools that would increase my earning capacity. The specific action mattered less than the practice of asking the question and acting from my new identity instead of my old patterns. This is where focus becomes your superpower in breaking the poverty cycle. The modern world is designed to fragment your attention, to keep you distracted, to pull you in 1,000 different directions. Your old mental system thrives in that chaos because scattered focus means no real progress. But when you develop the discipline to focus your personal energy on what actually moves you toward prosperity, everything changes. You stop reacting to every opportunity that appears and start evaluating whether it aligns with your purpose and financial direction. You stop consuming content mindlessly and start being intentional about what enters your consciousness. I had to become ruthless about protecting my focus. I deleted apps that were stealing hours of my day. I stopped engaging in conversations that reinforced scarcity thinking. I set boundaries around my time so I could dedicate focused energy to actions that mattered. This wasn't about becoming isolated or antisocial. This was about recognizing that my attention was my most valuable resource, and the poverty cycle wanted me to waste it on distractions instead of investing it in growth. The intentional action phase also taught me about the relationship between identity and behavior. Your actions reveal who you believe you are. If you believe you're someone who struggles with money, your actions will reflect that, even if you intellectually want something different. But when you start taking actions consistent with a different identity, with someone who has financial clarity and is building prosperity, something powerful happens. Your brain starts believing the new identity because it has behavioral evidence. You're not just thinking differently, you're doing differently. And consistent doing rewrites your sense of self at a deep level. I remember the first time I said no to something I couldn't afford instead of putting it on credit. It felt strange, almost foreign. My old pattern was to say yes, buy it, and deal with the consequences later. But my new identity understood that every purchase is a choice between immediate gratification and long-term prosperity. Saying no wasn't deprivation. It was a powerful decision made from clarity rather than impulse. That single action, repeated over time, saved me thousands of dollars and, more importantly, taught my brain that I was becoming someone who makes conscious financial choices. Here's the truth that changed everything for me. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. I kept waiting to feel motivated before taking action, but I had it backwards. When you take action, even small action, even when you don't feel like it, the motivation shows up afterward. You get momentum, you get evidence, you get results, even tiny ones, that fuel the next action. This is how you build the unstoppable discipline that transforms your life. You don't wait for inspiration, you act, and inspiration finds you in the movement. The poverty cycle wants you to believe that change requires massive effort, dramatic sacrifice, and superhuman willpower. That belief keeps you stuck because it makes change feel impossible. But the truth is much simpler and more accessible. Change requires consistent, intentional action aligned with your new mental system. 15 minutes a day of focused effort compounds into hours over weeks, into substantial progress over months, into complete transformation over years. The people who break free from the poverty cycle aren't special or gifted. They're simply consistent with small, powerful decisions that accumulate into a completely different life. I also learned that intentional action requires you to get comfortable with imperfect action. Your old mental system will try to keep you stuck in perfectionism, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect circumstances. But perfection is the enemy of progress. Taking messy action that moves you forward beats perfect planning that keeps you stationary. I started before I was ready. I made mistakes. I adjusted. I learned. And every imperfect action taught me something that made the next action better. This is about building a high-value life through high-value decisions, repeated daily. What makes a decision high value? It aligns with your purpose. It moves you toward prosperity rather than temporary comfort. It's made from clarity rather than fear. It strengthens your new identity instead of reinforcing your old patterns. Every day presents you with dozens of decision points where you choose between the poverty cycle and financial freedom. What you eat, what you consume mentally, how you spend your free time, what you buy, who you engage with, what you learn, how you respond to challenges. None of these decisions in isolation will change your life, but the pattern of your decisions, the consistent direction they point, that determines everything. What action will you take today to change your life? Tell me in the comments. Your answer may become the next video. Now we need to talk about something that sounds simple but runs incredibly deep. the difference between scarcity thinking and abundance thinking. This isn't just positive psychology or motivational fluff. This is the operating system beneath all your financial decisions, the lens through which you interpret every situation involving money and opportunity. And most people stuck in the poverty cycle don't even realize they're running scarcity software that colors everything they see and do. Scarcity thinking tells you there's never enough, that opportunities are rare, and you need to grab whatever comes your way, even if it doesn't align with your purpose. That other people's success somehow diminishes your possibilities, that money is inherently dirty, or that wanting prosperity means you're shallow or greedy, that you need to hoard what little you have because more isn't coming. These beliefs operate invisibly, shaping your decisions, limiting your actions, keeping you trapped in cycles of fear and limitation. And the most insidious part is that scarcity thinking feels like realism. It feels like you're just being practical, responsible, aware of how hard life is. But here's what I discovered. Scarcity thinking isn't realism. It's a filter that distorts reality. It makes you blind to opportunities because you're too focused on threats. It makes you act from fear instead of clarity. It keeps you playing small because taking risks feels too dangerous. And most importantly, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you operate from scarcity, you make decisions that create more scarcity. You miss opportunities because you don't believe they're real. You sabotage good situations because you don't believe you deserve them. You stay in your comfort zone because growth feels too uncertain. Abundance thinking is different, and I need you to understand what it actually means because it's often misrepresented. Abundance thinking isn't pretending you have money when you don't. It's not toxic positivity or ignoring real challenges. Abundance thinking is the profound recognition that we live in a world of expanding possibilities, that value can be created, that problems can be solved in ways that benefit everyone involved, that opportunities are everywhere if you train yourself to see them. It's understanding that prosperity begins with how you think before it manifests in what you have. Tony Robbins changed my understanding of this when he explained that your emotional state determines your decisions, and your decisions determine your life. I was making almost all my financial decisions from emotional states of fear, scarcity, and desperation. No wonder I kept getting the same results. When you're in a scarcity state, you can't see clearly. You make reactive choices. You grab at immediate relief instead of strategic gains. But when you cultivate an abundant state, when you practice emotional clarity around money, your entire decision-making process upgrades. I started practicing abundance thinking in very practical ways. When I saw someone driving a nice car, instead of my automatic response of envy or judgment, I would consciously think, that's evidence that prosperity is possible, that the world contains that level of abundance, and if they accessed it, I can too. What can I learn from their path? When I heard about someone's success, instead of feeling threatened or diminished, I got genuinely curious. What mental system are they running that I haven't installed yet? What do they understand about creating value that I'm still learning? This shift in emotional response was crucial because emotions drive behavior more than logic. You can intellectually know what you should do with money, but if you're operating from fear and scarcity at an emotional level, you'll self-sabotage every time. Developing abundance thinking means rewiring your emotional responses around financial situations. It means practicing feeling grateful for what you have, while simultaneously working toward more. It means celebrating other people's wins as proof of possibility rather than evidence of your lack. Morgan Housel's research on wealth revealed something that blew my mind. Building wealth is much more about behavior than income. He studied people across all income levels and found that high earners often stayed broke while modest earners built substantial wealth. The difference wasn't the amount of money coming in. It was the mental system processing that money. The high earners with scarcity thinking would upgrade their lifestyle with every raise, always spending slightly more than they earned. The modest earners with abundance thinking would invest consistently, live below their means not from deprivation, but from clarity about what actually mattered, and compound their wealth over time. This taught me that I didn't need to wait until I was making more money to start thinking and acting like someone building wealth. I could start right now with whatever I had. The abundance mindset isn't contingent on external circumstances. It's a choice about how you interpret and respond to your current reality. Do you see your situation as hopeless or as the starting point of your transformation? Do you focus on what's missing or on what's possible? Do you make decisions from limitation or from strategic thinking about where you're going? I had to examine every belief I had about money at the deepest level. Where did I learn that money was scarce? Who taught me that wanting prosperity was wrong? What experiences created my current relationship with wealth? And most importantly, Are these beliefs serving the life I want to create? Or are they keeping me trapped in a life I'm trying to escape? This examination was uncomfortable because it meant taking responsibility. It meant acknowledging that I had been complicit in my own limitations. But it was also empowering because it meant I had the power to choose different beliefs. Dale Carnegie understood something profound about human psychology that applies directly to financial transformation. You become what you think about most of the time. Your dominant thoughts shape your reality. If you're constantly thinking about bills, debt, lack, and limitation, your brain organizes your perception around those themes. You see evidence of scarcity everywhere. You miss opportunities because you're not scanning for them. You make decisions from fear because that's your dominant emotional state. But when you deliberately focus your thoughts on clarity, prosperity, purpose, and growth, your brain starts finding evidence for those themes instead. You notice different things. You interpret situations differently. You become someone different. The shift to abundance thinking completely changed my relationship with money. I stopped asking, "Can I afford this?" and started asking, "Is this aligned with where I'm going? Will this move me toward prosperity or away from it?" That reframe transformed every purchase decision from a question of scarcity to a question of strategic alignment. I stopped seeing prices as barriers and started seeing them as information. Some things were worth the investment because they would multiply value. Others weren't, not because I couldn't afford them, but because they didn't serve my purpose. Abundance thinking also means understanding delayed gratification in an empowering way. It's not about punishing yourself or denying everything enjoyable. It's about having such clear financial direction and purpose that you willingly choose future gains over immediate comfort. You're not sacrificing, you're investing. And that distinction changes everything emotionally. You feel powerful instead of deprived. You feel strategic instead of controlled by circumstances. You feel like someone building something meaningful instead of someone just trying to survive. Here's what abundance thinking did for me practically. It gave me the mental space to think long-term. The poverty cycle keeps you trapped in short-term thinking because you're always in crisis mode, always reacting to immediate needs. But prosperity is built through long-term thinking, through understanding compound effects, through making decisions today that pay off months and years from now. When I developed abundance thinking, I could finally lift my eyes beyond the next paycheck and start planning for the next year, the next 5 years, the next decade. The most powerful aspect of abundance thinking is that it creates what I call possibility awareness. You start noticing opportunities that were always there, but invisible to your scarcity-programmed brain. A conversation that could lead to a better job. A skill you could learn that would increase your value. A problem you could solve that people would pay for. An investment that aligns with your risk tolerance and timeline. These possibilities don't appear magically. They were always present, but your mental system determines whether you see them or not. Abundance thinking is the software update that makes opportunities visible. In Part 3, we're going to bring this all together and talk about freedom and purpose, about what it really means to break the poverty cycle at the deepest level. Because ultimately, this isn't just about making more money. It's about creating a life that feels genuinely free, where your decisions are driven by purpose rather than fear, where prosperity serves meaning rather than replacing it. We'll explore how everything we've covered, the awakening, the reprogramming, the intentional action, the abundance mindset, how it all converges to create lasting transformation. But for now, I need you to examine your own thinking honestly. Are you operating from scarcity or abundance? Are your thoughts creating possibilities or reinforcing limitations? This awareness is where the shift begins. Tell me in the comments, what's one area where you need to shift from scarcity thinking to abundance thinking? And make sure you're subscribed, because Part 3 will show you how all of this creates the freedom and purpose that make breaking the poverty cycle worth it. This is the final piece, the one that transforms financial change from a struggle into a meaningful journey toward the life you're meant to live.